on the issue of recruitment or no recruitment, these are symptoms. The Nigerian army, before they were hugely compromised by the political class, further deepened, encouraged, massacred, marinated by the present regime. I'm not saying it started under this regime, but it became more emboldened. I tell people that insecurity did not start under this regime, but this government, Buhari, has come to nationalize it. The number one achievement of this government is that to now liberalize insecurity. If it has failed in anything, it never failed in that. To make insecurity national, that it used to be that maybe I did not east or whatever, but that anywhere, where do you come from? Nowhere is safe. So we have a symptom. Yes, it's good to recruit. It's normal. It's natural. But if we don't fix the most important issue, the institution of the Nigerian Army, military, generally, we have lost those values and ethics that make them unique. You dare not find a military man on the street those days. It's an aberration. But they live in the estate. Oh, you don't know where they live now? They used to be in the barracks, you know where? The idea of picking them in a place to put in their consciousness that you are in a regimented profession. You can be called anytime. So it's in your subconscious. But now, go to Lokogroba in the morning. Just stay by the road. You know about them driving out to that place. First of all, it's an aberration for them to stay outside. Two, to own such properties. So when a man, I used to tell people that when we were younger, as a student leader, we were ready to die. All I had there was O level. I had not even graduated. But now I have a child that depends on me. I have a lot of, so the desire, the propensity to dare has reduced. That was one of the major things I have against the Babangida regime. When they gave Jetta and Pidgeot, to military officers. No, Jetta and what other car? No, Tilosis was later under Obasanjo. Under Babangida, it was Jetta and one other car. I can't remember. But I said, what he is doing is to compromise and weaken their ability. A man with some level of comfort cannot dare certain things again. He will think of what he will lose. So the Nigerian army needs to be rejigged. This present government did so much damage under a general to the Nigerian security architecture. The service chiefs that were relieved about how many months ago were cost 25, cost 26, 28. Before they left, cost 33 had gone on retirement. Before they left, cost 33 had gone on retirement. So what the desire of any military officer is to reach the peak of his career. They aspire that's the ultimate to them. You shut those generations because you feel that these people are loyal. There's one thing about loyalty in the military. It is inherent in you because from even taking your food, there's a procedure. So when the military has lost that, the recruitment will not solve our problem. If I have my way, for now, let's get machineries to fight Boko Haram. The Nigerian army as it is, Nigerian military as it is cannot, because they are fully compromised. When you are supposed to attack, at the time you are supposed to attack, somebody is feeding the insurgent about where you are coming from, where you are going. Hello, they even tell them what you are carrying, the equipment, so they are better informed. You need people who do not have affiliation with us, else Nigeria will be a history. I'm privileged. I was privileged to be Secretary of Nigerian Students at the point, so I read about activities of NANS, and I understand the role Buhari played when he was head of state. Anyone that is not comfortable with contrary views cannot be a good leader. Our president cannot. It's an affront when you have a contrary view to him. So men around him, what they do is they go, since they understand that that's the best way to get to his heart, they go to tell what you want to hear and use that to curry favor and blackmail those they think share contrary view. So he got himself imprisoned. But what was the foundation is inability to come out of the cocoon and realize that I'm the president of all. When the insurgency started, remember very well that at the initial stage, what we had was majorly Boko Haram. Hello. Fulani herdsmen were in existence, but they were not this ferocious. A few of them had gun, but most of them had this cutlass and stick they carry about. Sir, I am from Kaba. My parents, my dad late, my mom still alive, are market women. I grew up in the market. We relate with them every day. When this violently motivated group were coming in, I'm bold to say that most of them are not Nigerians. Majority of them are not Nigerians, but they have the connivance of Nigerians. In some other aspect, they use fear, threat to subdue the people and make them succumb to them. However, the president, where I'm coming to, is at that time, if he has stood up and said, no, this will not happen. He will have said the right signal. But rather, what was he doing? No, go and live with your neighbor in peace. You think the people don't hear the message? A man naturally will aggress you continuously if he does not see equal resistance. If he slaps you, you slap back. Maybe yours is just a scratch. He is conscious of the fact that you slap back. Tomorrow, he will think twice. But when he aggress and is massaged, go and live with your neighbors in peace. That's where we are today. That's where we are today. So that's why I say the president should take the lion's share of this blame. In fact, he should take the whole blame. Because he told the whole world in Chatham House, when he was running for election, so I'm a general, I will lead from the front. He didn't tell us that if you are my brother or my cousin, I will not put you where you belong if you do wrong. So it's in the psyche of those who take that advantage and those who have been aggressed now realize that, hey, I can't be secured, I can't have my security in this architecture that is in display. So, as I was showing somebody yesterday, when NEPA does not give you light, you buy generator. Abi? When water board does not give you water, you do borehole. When you don't have security, what do you do? So why are people surprised that people are, rising up to the responsibility of defending themselves? Did you complain when people dig borehole? Did you complain when they buy generator? So why are you complaining that they are defending themselves? But the day you provide security and they see equity, fairness in your policy, and they can have that confidence that, hey, no matter where I come from, if somebody did wrong against me, I'll get justice. Nobody will be interested in those things again.